My husband had an affair with the woman who lives next door. When I started asking questions, he told everyone I was mentally unstable. So I stayed silent and collected evidence, then blew everything up at once. I don't know how long I've been gaslit. Weeks, months, maybe years. At some point, it became hard to tell where my instincts ended and his voice in my head began. All I know is that by the time I realized the truth, I didn't trust myself anymore. Not with what I saw, what I heard, or even what I felt. I'm writing this because I need to get it out, and maybe, in some strange way, get myself back too. I'll use fake names. I'm 36, and I've been married to my husband Mark for nearly 12 years. We live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind with matching mailboxes, forced smiles at HOA meetings, and barbecues that pretend to be spontaneous. Next door to us live Julie and her husband Kyle. They moved in about 2 years ago and quickly became our closest couple friends. We had game nights, did double dates, traded pet sitting favors. I even lent Julie my Instant Pot once and joked she should just keep it. She did, along with my husband, but I didn't know that then. Back then, I still thought I was happy. Mark and I had our ups and downs, like any couple. He worked in tech, long hours, sometimes emotionally distant. But I chalked that up to stress. We didn't have kids, but we talked about trying next year. He said he wasn't ready yet, wanted to reconnect as a couple, before adding a third person into the mix. Funny choice of words in hindsight. The first red flag was stupid, small. The kind of thing you'd scroll past on a Reddit thread and think, that doesn't mean anything. Julie started texting Mark directly. At first it was about logistics. Hey, can Mark bring the drinks to game night? Or tell Mark thanks for fixing our Wi-Fi. Then the texts got longer, more frequent. Inside jokes, memes. He'd laugh at them, sometimes out loud, but when I asked what was funny, he'd say, "Oh, nothing, just a dumb meme from Kyle." From Kyle, not Julie. I didn't even think to question that at the time. Then came the whispering. The phone turned face down, the unexplained late nights at work. The way Julie's eyes would flick toward him too quickly when she laughed. I started feeling something tighten in my chest, a kind of quiet panic I couldn't name. So I asked him calmly, "Is there something going on with you and Julie?" His reaction still haunts me. He laughed. Actually laughed. Then he stepped closer, touched my arm, and said, "Are you serious? Baby, are you okay?" I said yes, I was just asking. That it had been on my mind, that I needed to ask to get it off my mind. But that wasn't the end of it. That night and every night after, he planted the same seed. "You've been really on edge lately. Maybe you need to talk to someone. You've been sleeping so much. Are you depressed?" He made me question my tone, my reactions, my memory. I'd bring up something he said days ago, and he'd say it never happened. He told Julie I was going through something, and she started treating me like I was fragile porcelain. I stopped mentioning my feelings to her altogether. Somehow, my gut instinct turned into a symptom. And just like that, I was the crazy wife, the moody woman next door, the reason for every tension in the room. Until one night, about 3 weeks ago, I found Mark's smartwatch charging on the kitchen counter. It buzzed. I glanced over. One message. From Julie. It read, "Can't stop thinking about last night. Still sore, but worth it." I stared at it for a full minute before I could breathe again. Then I took a photo of the screen. Just one. Just in case I ever needed to remind myself that I wasn't imagining things. I didn't say anything that night. I didn't scream or cry or throw the watch out the window like I wanted to. I simply turned it off, went upstairs, and pretended I hadn't seen a thing. But everything changed after that, because now I knew I wasn't paranoid, and I wasn't going to let them make me doubt it ever again. After I saw that message on Mark's watch, something inside me shifted. I stopped questioning myself. I stopped wondering if I was reading too much into things. I had proof now, cold, undeniable, time-stamped proof. But I also knew that confronting him too soon would backfire. He'd gaslight me, twist it, say it was a joke or a misunderstanding. Maybe even accuse me of invading his privacy or overreacting again. So I stayed quiet. I played the part of the subdued, slightly off-balance wife that he had painted me to be. I smiled at Julie when she brought over banana bread. I let Mark kiss my cheek goodnight. I nodded along during dinner while they told me about a funny thing that happened at the HOA meeting I hadn't been invited to. Inside, I was cataloging every moment, every word, every glance. I started checking his phone when he showered, something I hadn't done in years. But Mark had gotten smarter. He deleted his texts, kept his browsing history clean. Still, I noticed patterns. Random calendar events with no labels. Uber charges to places he'd claimed he never went. I backed up the photo of Julie's message to a private drive and started keeping a digital journal. Just facts, dates, times, screenshots. I even started saving video clips from our doorbell cam. I noticed that Mark forgot something in the car on nights Julie happened to drop something off. Always the same pattern, 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes outside. Just long enough to not draw suspicion. I wasn't crazy. I was documenting. But here's where things got darker. Mark started talking to our other neighbors more, specifically the wives. He'd chat with them in driveways, wave more often, crack more jokes. He told one of them that I'd been having a tough time lately, said I was really emotional, that I wasn't sleeping well, and maybe should talk to someone. I only found out because one of the neighbors, a woman named Lisa, who I barely knew, asked me gently over the fence, "Hey, are you okay? Mark said you've been feeling overwhelmed lately." It took everything in me not to cry right there. He wasn't just cheating, he was building a safety net, a narrative to protect himself before I could even say a word. Classic abuser move. Discredit the accuser before the accusation. Julie played right along. Her tone with me became overly sweet, careful, measured. The way you talk to someone unstable. She'd check in too often. Want me to grab anything from the store? How are you feeling today? Don't forget to hydrate. It made my skin crawl. Then, last week, I caught a crack in their perfect little performance. It was late. Mark was already asleep. I couldn't sleep, surprise, right? So I went downstairs for tea. I saw Julie through the kitchen window, standing in her backyard under one of those string lights she always bragged about. She was on the phone, pacing. She didn't know I could hear through the open kitchen window. She said, "No, she's starting to pull away again. I don't think she believes the whole stress thing anymore." Pause. Then, "No, I haven't told him yet. But he's suspicious too. I think she's digging." I froze. Who was she talking to? Mark? Someone else? I tried to record, but by the time I grabbed my phone, she'd moved out of earshot. Still, that moment changed something for me. I wasn't just dealing with a betrayal, I was dealing with a coordinated lie. They were working together to manage me, to manipulate how I was perceived, in case I ever spoke up. But they were slipping. 2 days ago, I found another breadcrumb, one I wasn't even looking for. Mark left his tablet on the bed while he was in the shower. He hardly ever used it, which is probably why he forgot it was logged into an old cloud photo account. I opened the gallery. Most of it was boring, old photos of vacations, work screenshots. Liam the cat when we first got him. But then I found a folder named Archived. It was hidden deep inside the albums, not deleted, just buried. Inside were dozens of photos of Julie. At first, I assumed they were recent. Selfies, shots from our backyard BBQs. A few of her laughing at game night. Normal, right? But then I looked at the timestamps. Some of them were over 18 months old. That shocked me, because Julie and Kyle had only moved into the neighborhood about 2 years ago. These weren't recent selfies. These were candid shots. Julie laughing in our backyard, bent over to pet our cat, lying in a hammock, sipping wine on our porch, which means Mark had been collecting photos of her from the beginning, possibly even before they were friends, before we ever started doing game nights, before she was ever in our house. I felt sick. I remembered one of the photos clearly, Julie in a red sundress, holding a cocktail at their anniversary party. I was there, so was Mark. I took that photo on her phone. So how the hell did it end up saved in his cloud? Unless he sent it to himself. Unless they were already sharing things behind closed doors. Unless this started way before I thought. I sat on the edge of our bed, holding Mark's tablet like it was something radioactive. The folder was still open. Julie, laughing in the backyard, wearing that red sundress I always thought made me look bloated. Sitting on the edge of our pool with her legs in the water, smiling at someone behind the camera. And I knew it wasn't Kyle. The timestamps told the real story. These photos were old, some dated back over a year. Julie and Kyle had only moved in 2 years ago, but from the frequency and intimacy of the shots, it was clear. Mark hadn't just started sleeping with Julie. He had been watching her, collecting her, for a long time. One photo stopped me cold. Julie, lounging on our guest bed, in a robe, my robe. That photo was time-stamped the same weekend I had gone to stay with my aunt after her car accident. I'd only been gone 3 days. I never even suspected. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I just froze. For maybe half an hour. My body stopped moving while my mind started spinning. And then something shifted. I stood up, closed the tablet, and started planning. I made 4 rules for myself that night. Rule 1, never let them know what I know. Rule 2, record everything. Rule 3, build a timeline. Rule 4, end it on my terms. I bought a second nanny cam online, rush-shipped, disguised as a regular phone charger. I placed it in the guest room, same angle as where that photo of Julie had been taken, just in case she came back. I activated the motion tracking on our front doorbell camera, not just to see who came and went, but to cross-reference the timestamps with Mark's late work meetings. I backed up the entire contents of Mark's tablet and exported all metadata from the photos, organizing them by date, location, and time of day. If this ever went to court, I'd need evidence with no wiggle room. At work, I acted normal. At home, I smiled. I answered Mark's questions with vague affection, cooked his meals, kissed his cheek. He didn't suspect a thing, but I did notice something else. He was watching me too. "You've been quiet lately," he said one night while brushing his teeth. "Is everything okay?" I smiled. "Yeah, just tired." The next day, I overheard him on the phone, in the garage, door half open. He was talking to Julie. I couldn't catch everything, but I heard, "No, she hasn't said anything, but she's different. Like she knows something. Julie knows I know. I know she knows." We're all circling each other, smiling, pretending, performing. It was a strange feeling, terrifying and electrifying at the same time. That weekend, I emailed a divorce attorney. I didn't file anything, not yet. I just asked for a consultation. She replied within hours. Her name was Marla. She said, "Come prepared, bring everything." And so I did. Photos, screenshots, exported call logs, shared calendar entries that didn't match where he said he'd be. Even Venmo transactions. $40 to Julie labeled book club snacks on a day we didn't have book club. Marla said, "This isn't just infidelity. This is a pattern, possibly obsession. You're right to document everything." She also advised me, "Don't confront him yet. Keep building, keep safe. When you're ready to go, you go fast." That was the moment I realized. I wasn't stuck. I wasn't powerless. I was gathering fuel. 2 days later, I saw Julie in our driveway. She waved. "Hi, love. I was just telling Mark we should do another barbecue soon. You still make that insane sangria?" I smiled. "Of course, maybe next weekend." She smiled too, but her eyes, they were searching, nervous. We both knew. Neither of us said a word. Not yet, but soon. It all came to a head faster than I expected. I had planned to wait a few more weeks, gather more footage, let the financial prep run its course. But the universe has a way of throwing gasoline when you're already holding the match. It started with a text. From Julie. She must have thought she was texting Mark. Or maybe she just didn't care anymore. It read, "You should tell her. I'm tired of being the secret. She deserves to know anyway." And in that moment, I realized 2 things. She thought she had won. She underestimated me. So I replied, "Oh, don't worry, she knows, and she's been watching for a while." I turned my phone off, grabbed the flash drive I had labeled Rainy Day, and went downstairs. Mark was in the kitchen, making a smoothie like it was any other Sunday morning, wearing the t-shirt Julie once complimented, whistling. I slid the flash drive across the table. He raised an eyebrow. "What's this?" "Everything," I said. He plugged it into his laptop. He watched the folder open. He clicked the first video. Julie, walking into our house, holding wine, my hoodie, laughing. Then the photo slideshow, time-stamped, labeled. Venmo receipts, call logs, Julie's voice in a voicemail she never meant to leave. I didn't say a word. I watched the blood drain from his face in real time. "You went through my—" "Save it," I said. "I can explain." "I really hope you do. In court." His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. "I already did," I replied. I moved out 2 days later, not because I had to, the house is half mine, but because I wanted to take the wind out of their sails. Let them keep their little kingdom of lies for now. I'd take it back in the settlement. Kyle left Julie the same week. Apparently, she wasn't as subtle as she thought. He found messages, photos, a shared Pinterest board titled Our Future Home. The same week she smiled at me over sangria and asked if I'd help her redo her kitchen. They tried to spin the story, of course, said it was complicated, that things just happened, that love is messy. What they didn't expect was that no one believed them, because I had already told my story, calmly, factually, with receipts. Mark's own mother called to apologize to me. Julie quit the HOA committee and stopped going to yoga. I blocked them both. My lawyer is handling everything from here. She's good. Ruthless in the best way. We're filing for divorce on grounds of adultery and emotional abuse. I'll be pursuing damages, and I'm in a good position to get them. But honestly, the legal part doesn't matter as much as I thought it would. What matters is that I don't look over my shoulder anymore. What matters is that I sleep. What matters is that I no longer apologize for my intuition. For the first time in years, I feel like myself again. I kept the flash drive, not because I need it, but because sometimes when you feel like you're losing your mind, it helps to remember you were right all along, and they were just really, really good liars.